Hello family, I'm Carlos Ospinal from the Great Commission Church. Today, we want to share with you a summary of our Sunday teaching, presented as a reflection by our visual commentators and drawn from our sermon notes.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Glad you could join us.
Great to be here.
Today, we're digging into a really powerful message from last Sunday. It was from Pastor Carlos Ospinal at the Great Commission Church over in Hanover Park.
Yeah, it really stuck with me, the whole idea of living with a renewed mind.
Especially when you think about how the Bible describes the world basically under the influence of, well, the evil one, as 1 John puts it.
It's a stark picture. And Pastor Ospinal had this great analogy. He said it's like formatting a computer's hard drive.
Okay.
You have to wipe the bad stuff, the stuff the world puts on there, and then actively fill it with what actually pleases the Lord. Unlearn the bad, learn the good.
That makes so much sense, sort of clearing out the clutter. So this whole deep dive pivots on that question he kept bringing up.
What would Jesus do?
Exactly, WWJD, using that as the filter for everything. So where do we even start with that kind of mental reformatting?
Well, Pastor Ospinal took us straight to the Apostle Paul, to Romans 12, verse 2. It's really the core instruction here.
Right.
And he clarified, it's not the planet Earth we're talking about conforming to. It's the world system. Its values, money, fame, pleasure, all that stuff that pulls us away from holiness.
Okay, yeah.
And the command Paul gives is pretty direct. Do not conform, but be transformed by the renewal of your understanding.
Let's break that down. First part, do not conform. What does that look like practically? Pastor Ospinal mentioned the Greek word, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Sykomatizo. It paints this picture of being squeezed into an external mold, like a cookie cutter.
Wow, so the world is actively trying to shape us, whether we realize it or not.
Exactly. It's not passive.
Yeah.
So the application is, we have to stop and think, how is the world shaping my thoughts, my words, what I chase after?
And that's where asking, what would Jesus do, becomes so crucial, right, as a filter.
Precisely. And Pastor Ospinal made this really fascinating connection. He brought up the Jewish custom of tzitzit.
The fringes on garments from the book of Numbers.
Yeah, those fringes, specifically with the blue thread. They were commanded as a visible reminder for the Israelites to remember the Lord's commandments, his presence, purity, fidelity.
Okay, I see the parallel.
He compared that ancient practice to the more recent WWJD movement from the 90s.
Ah, okay. So both are like visual cues.
Exactly. Not as some kind of magic amulet or something you do to earn salvation, no, but as a voluntary tool, a way to constantly bring your mind back to holiness, to your commitment, all guided by the Holy Spirit.
That helps frame it. It's a conscious choice. Are we going to be like Lot, who kind of blended into Sodom and lost everything? Or more like Daniel in Babylon, who refused to conform and kept his identity strong in the Lord?
That's the challenge. And it leads right into the second part of that verse in Romans.
Be transformed by the renewal of your understanding.
Right. And the word for transform there is metamorphos. Think metamorphosis.
Like a caterpillar to a butterfly.
Exactly. It's not just changing your clothes, it's a complete internal change from the inside out.
So how does that deep internal reprogramming happen?
It happens day by day as we align our thinking with the Lord's Word. Through reading the Bible, through prayer, through real community with other believers. It's an ongoing process.
Makes sense. Like Peter, maybe. He went from being impulsive, even denying Jesus,
to this incredibly bold leader after Pentecost. Acts 4 shows him standing strong. That's the result of a mind being renewed and empowered by the Spirit.
So conforming is external pressure, but transformation is internal change. And what's the point of all this? Why go through this transformation?
The verse tells us, so that you may prove what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect. It's about experiencing his will firsthand.
Proving it, like testing it and finding it true.
Yes. And his will is always good, pleasing, and perfect, even when circumstances are hard. Think about Joseph in Egypt.
Right, his brothers sold him into slavery.
But he could later say, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. He could see God's perfect plan unfolding because his mind was aligned with God's perspective. He'd been transformed.
So, pulling it all together from Pastor Ospinal's message, we need to actively reject the world's mold.
And maybe use those reminders, like WWJD, consciously.
Then allow the Holy Spirit to do that deep work, transforming our minds daily through the Word, prayer, obedience, community.
So we can actually discern and live out God's will, which is always good. Using that what would Jesus do question as our guide.
And Pastor Ospinal said this involves a spiritual fight, using spiritual weapons, truth, humility, purity, relying on the Spirit, basically reflecting Christ.
Absolutely.
Then he got really practical. He challenged everyone to apply WWJD in 5 specific areas where, let's be honest, we can often stumble.
Yeah, this was the real rubber meets the road part.
First, our language and behavior online on social media. Ask WWJD before you post, before you comment, before you react. Use it as a filter.
Good one. Second, our spiritual priorities. When faced with a choice between, say, spending time with the Lord versus just entertainment, ask, what would Jesus prioritize here?
Third, integrity. Especially in our finances and at work, WWJD can guide us to choose truth and honesty, even if it seems like it might cost us something in the short term.
Fourth was about purity, sexual purity, and the content we consume. Maybe even put a WWJD reminder on your phone or computer. Would Jesus watch this? Would he approve?
That's challenging. And finally, number 5, our commitment to the church, to the community of believers. Would Jesus bail on serving just because it's inconvenient or uncomfortable? Let his example push us towards deeper commitment.
Those 5 areas really cover a lot of daily life, don't they?
They really do. It shows how WWJD, far from being just some old slogan, can be a genuinely helpful, spirit-led tool for ongoing change. It helps us filter our choices through who Christ is.
It's about making it real every day.
Definitely. And if you want to experience the full message, we really encourage you to watch Pastor Carlos Ospinal's complete preaching.
You can find it on the church website, www.connlgc.org, preachings.
And also on their YouTube channel, which is at Le Grand Commission LGC. It's well worth your time. Well, that's all the time we have for this deep dive.
See you next time.
See you next time.